Opens its public meeting for October 20th, 2022. A note to the public that this meeting is in video and audio recording for cable broadcast and internet posting on www.daytonmass.gov. Would everyone rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone, you've seen the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from September 15th?
Motion, we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
And Bill seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a hearing continued from Long Bill Homes. It's a notice of intent for the development of Hunters Hill subdivision, DEP file number SE 17-441. And this is Mr. Watson, who is representing the applicant.
You want to just help me pass these out? And hopefully these are the most recent, because
There's been no changes since that.
May 16th, 2022 is the last one.
Revised through September 30th.
You want to share?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa. Again, for the record, it's Evan Watson, W Engineering, representing Long Built Homes. We've been going through this project for a little bit of time now. Like I said, we get these plans May 16th. And it's been last revised through September 30th. Last time we met, I believe I took all the input from the board and addressed everyone's concerns. And essentially, we were asked to go to the plan board, make sure that they were satisfied, go to Stormwater Committee, make sure they're satisfied, and hear back from your review engineer that you hired, Niche Engineering, and make sure that they were satisfied. So we've received a letter from Niche Engineering. He had a few comments, mostly recommendations for the board, nothing that would change these plans at all. Mostly about when we come in for individual lot designs that obviously you're gonna have to review them as if we're in jurisdictional areas. We went to the planning board and they approved the plans. I believe they signed the decision last night. And that's the plans that you see here. The only change that they asked for was that we put a chain link fence around the detention basins versus a post and rail fence, which these plans do reflect. And then the last thing, yesterday we went to the Stormwater Committee and we came to a conclusion with them where Todd Pilling, the stormwater agent, had a few comments regarding the stormwater basins. He asked to have a safety bench put in, maybe move the fence on the outside of the basin, but nothing there that was going to drastically change the plans or the design in any meaningful way. So if you guys didn't have any other questions, what I was hoping to do tonight is to ask to close the hearing with the condition that we satisfy Todd's comment letter. And then when we come back next time, we could have an order squared away that would include Todd's comments.
If Todd makes changes that would require changes to this plan, then that would put you in an adverse position to reopen and ask for an amended order. When is his next meeting that he is going to, that they're going to have with the stormwater?
I've been told by the stormwater that if we get everything wrapped up with Todd, that they would be ready to close and issue the permit at their next meeting, which would be the day before your meeting next month.
Okay.
November 16th.
Okay, so if we wait for that, and then, and everything is clear and you don't have to do any changes at all, that would clear you of maybe 1 or 2 months further delay, because you can't do anything until then anyway, am I correct?
That's right. Yeah, so we would need to have planning approval, which we have, stormwater approval, and the order of conditions.
Okay, that seems more reasonable to me to wait till our next meeting. That's one day after you get approval from them. Because if something happens and you have to make a change based upon them, and we give you approval now, then you're gonna have to come in with some kind of a amended order, which is gonna delay you even longer.
No, that would make sense. I would mention that the revisions that he was asking to do, they were all outside the regulated areas, but at least if we did it that way, we would have all of our approvals would refer to the same date and set of plans, which is a good idea. I would only ask that in the interim time between now and then, if there were conditions that wanted to be written up for the order of conditions, that those would be ready, so when we come back next month, that we could have that ready to go.
Lisa?
I could do my best on part-time hours. I'll do my best.
If you want, I could write the conditions for you. I'd have no problem doing
Thanks
that.
for the offer.
Yeah, I can help out if you need any help.
I'll pass,
All right.
for the record.
Are you satisfied with going through this? Everyone satisfied with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, do you wish to ask for a continuance?
Well, is there any type of special condition that we want to bring up at this time I know
Lisa?
Lisa mentioned something about the vernal pools or whatnot.
Yeah, I wanted to request that those vernal pools that LEC had delineated, that they actually be certified. So,
We'd be happy to do that. That's fine. We actually talked to our consultant, Brian Madden, and that's something he's familiar with doing, so we will
Okay.
do that.
awesome.
Okay, so,
All right, so at this time then, I'll ask for a continuance to the next meeting.
I just
Yep, go
wanted to know if any of the commissioners had any questions about any,
Oh, that's a good idea, and being the public hearing, we should probably, I see there's a lot of
Yeah.
people. I don't think they're here for me, or at least I hope not, sorry.
they
folks.
might be.
any input from the audience? Okay,
Been before you guys for, what, 15 months now?
No, longer than that.
okay,
I don't want us to go down that road. I've gotten to know all of you very well.
okay, so, that is gonna be November 17th, the continuance. Is there a motion to continue?
Make a motion, we continue to 17th of November.
Second. All in favor? Okay, and hopefully it's gonna be, everything will be wrapped up, cleaned up, and done for
I'm
you.
coming here next time with everything wrapped up, for sure.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna need the final plan to draft the orders, obviously, so.
Okay, the next hearing has been continued, the request has been made to continue the
Sounds good,
hearing
thank you.
from DI Trust. It's a comprehensive conservation subdivision for 135 single-family homes and 13,000 plus linear feet associated with roadway off of Forest Street. Is there a motion to continue?
Make a motion, we continue to November 17th.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item has been continued. It's from Reed Brother Farms Limited Liability Partnership, DEP file number 17-447. Outback Engineering has requested a continuance to 11/17. And this is the solar farm, Lisa?
Sorry, is this?
The solar farm, Reed Brothers.
No.
Oh, I'm
There's no
sorry, I got
solar farm
the,
there.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got
okay.
the wrong farm.
It's okay.
This is off of William Street, though.
Invasives management and restoration.
Okay, the restoration program. Is there a motion to continue to the 17th of November?
Motion to continue, Reeves, till the 17th of November.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 0 Pleasant Street and 0 Main Street, 0 Elm Street. Lot 1, map 20, lots 84-3, filed by Zeneca Incorporated and Geotech Consultants, DEP file number 17-461. To confirm the jurisdictional boundary of a bordering vegetated wetland, salt marsh bank, riverfront area, and they have requested a continuance to November 17th as well.
I believe there's also an IBW and BLSF and LSCS.
Okay, all right, that's just more designations of all the various wetland categories.
Yeah, they were wrapping up the review, Beta was, and working with LEC on that, and I think at the next week meeting, we'll be able to.
Okay, for the audience, Beta is our consultant that is reviewing the wetland lines, and this is only to determine the wetland lines. It's not to do any work in or near the wetlands. It's only to determine where the line is. Is there a motion to continue?
Make a motion, we continue, till the 17th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation by Leopold Speck at 1130 Bridge Street, map 8, lot 66-2. The resource includes, but not limited to, the bordering vegetated wetland, 100-foot inner riparian and 200-foot outer riparian zones, and mean annual high water of the Segregansett River. The flagged areas are extensive and require the services of Beta Consulting Group. They have submitted a cost of $6,200 to review the wetlands. We established a 53G account, consultant account. They have requested a continuance to 11/17. If any of you know, at the corner of Bridge Street where the bridges out and all that land in the back there is, they're flagging it for wetland delineation, just as the previous applicant is. Is there a motion to continue?
Make a motion, we continue, Bridge Street till
Second.
11/17.
Okay, all in favor? Seconded by Bill. Okay. Notice of intent by Matthew Matozo, 1566 Cedar Street, map 15, lot 4-1 and 2, for an addition to an existing home and restoration of alteration of the bordering vegetated wetland. DEP file number 17-463. The applicant's representative was not in attendance at our September meeting. The commission continued the hearing till tonight.
Okay, before you get started, I just want to make sure the commission has some plans in front of them, so, let's see here. I believe you guys did drop off two sets. Here's a large one if you guys prefer.
Okay. Oh, we got nice colored ones here.
Here's a large.
Yes.
Evening.
Would you give us your name, please, for the audience?
Ed, John D'Souza from North County Group, Inc. So, per the last time that we were actually here, we made some revisions to our plans. We also included a planting schedule, which is shown on sheet number 2. We revised the house location to be out of the 50-foot from the wetland line. We also rearranged the one of the paddocks that was basically up close to the edge of the wetland on one side, so we moved that away from it. We pushed the riding ring out a little bit from there. We've shown the plantings, which is shown on the hatched area. Right in through here. For wetland vegetation. We have the hatched area in the back that was previously filled with trash and whatnot out there, and that's the area that my client has agreed to remove the trash and let that revegetate naturally in that area. As far as the plantings, we're gonna be looking to be putting in high bush blueberry, so that way he can cultivate that as well.
Okay, are these wetland flags, on the wetland line, is it consistent with the previous maps that you have given to us?
The wetland line that's shown in green is consistent with what the original wetland line out there was.
Who flagged it, sorry?
The flagging was done by Mr. Schneel, which was actually removed from the project.
Because it looks like it's significantly moved.
No. When we went out to locate, verify the previous survey, that's where the original flagging was.
Okay, but I have an old plan from Zenith, and when I compare it to your plan shows the wetland lines pushed back significantly.
Which Zenith plan is this? Because is that a plan that was submitted to the commission
Yes,
for the record?
yeah.
As what, through the violation notice or
Yep,
an ANRAD or anything?
no, Anrad, no, it was through this whole process. In any case, yeah, so this plan that you submitted to us doesn't tell us who flagged it and when, so I'd need that on here. Also, you have 7,500 square feet of wetland impact area that you're trying to plant, and you're proposing 29 plantings. That to me is a very small number of plants in a very large area.
Well, the area would not only get the new plantings, but it'd also be allowed to revegetate on its own.
Well, it needs to, because it's a wetland.
Well, that, you know, I have some reservations on that as well, because I've actually found where that was an actual, the cranberry bog at one point in time as well, but,
I couldn't understand you.
oh,
It was natural.
so I said that my client would be looking to have the high bush blueberry and the natural vegetation spring up and through that area.
I understood that.
Yeah, and then I said that I've come across that area used to be a cranberry bog at one point in time.
It did?
Yeah, there was an old bog there with a small little reservoir on it.
Do you know when that was?
I have all that information at the office, but we're going through that right now as well.
All right.
Lisa, what is on the wetland lines that, is it that, I mean, if it's
Well-
only a,
The area of the paddock and the riding ring, the wetland edge, you know, if you're going on Stevens flagging, it appears that the wetland edge now is in, like I said, I don't know how many feet, but it's definitely different than it was. So you're telling us also that you're planning to, this is already built, this riding ring. So he's going to he's gonna actually physically move it?
We're gonna see exactly where that lands, because I know the flagging that you're speaking of, the original flagging is what is actually shown on here. And then Mr. Schmiel went out there, and I don't know what prompted it, but he started moving some flagging around. And when we went out to verify his flag locations, we felt that the original location is where the flags should have been left at.
Well, I'd like to see some data forms or something. I'm not gonna just agree with a wetland delineation without a data form from him, so, or it needs to be reflagged by someone else.
you know, your plan as you show it, based upon your wetland, recording, seems much improved over the past. But because the wetland flag line seems to be moving, maybe that's something that we have to verify to make sure that what you have proposed here is as accurate as you say.
And I definitely would wanna do a site visit too.
I'm not saying that this doesn't look good, but if the flags have been altered and the lines, I think if Lisa goes there and, this would be,
Well, if I recall correctly, I believe that she has met Mr. Schmiel out there numerous times.
Yeah, it was last year though, I mean, so I would like to actually go verify these flags is still up, or you said that you had,
No, the original flags are all there still.
okay, and then I would like to see where this where the new riding rink is going to be moved to? Cause you show it in a different location on sheet 2?
could you
Zoom
do
in.
something like that on site, kind of, put some stakes in to show us where it's going to be?
Well, we're actually starting to get pressed for time on this, so, I mean, right now,
And
we,
I'm sorry, one thing you forgot to, I'm sorry to interrupt, but one other item you had in here was that the square footage on the addition is increased to 1,500 square feet.
yes, but it's all further away than the 50 feet as requested by the commission.
Go ahead.
So, we're trying to resolve a violation that the commission has issued. And we're also trying to get a notice in, and we're trying to mitigate the wetland area out there.
And I think you're getting close anyway.
Well, I mean, we're at a point in time that I believe we need to act one way or another.
But that's not our fault. I mean, this
The only
has
thing
been
you're
continuing a long
requesting
time.
is an addition to the
The
house.
applicant hasn't
No, the paddock.
cooperated.
There's about 7 items that is on a form, the remove,
Well, in the agenda, I just, that I read.
So, yeah, so what is actually being requested is the add-on to the house, the mitigation for, the wetland, ed mitigation, cleaning out the, previous area that was already trash before my client, purchased the property, let that revegetate, rearrange the paddocks in the,
Rearrange or relocate?
well, it's a relocate one and it gets rearranged at that point as well. I mean, we're more than willing to work with Lisa to figure out the wetland line, but at the same time, we need to put a closure on this. Either, you know, we come to the terms.
I think, you know, that the problem that we have is that one map shows one location for the wetland, and the new map,
So the previous map that's been referred to, I'd like to see how that was submitted to the commission.
do you have that,
If
Lisa?
that was submitted through an ANRAD or through a violation hearing?
No, it was submitted as part of this process before he fired the other guy because he didn't like what he saw.
But how was it submitted? How was it formally
It
submitted?
was handed to me at a site visit.
Okay, so it wasn't brought to the commission, it wasn't brought as a
Okay, but it is
notice.
what I reviewed. So if you want us to approve what you put on the plan, then we need to review it. That's how it works.
Okay, Lisa was reviewing the other plan, and now, this new plan that you have, shows the line somewhat different, so she wants
it
to
doesn't-
review the line.
It doesn't show it any different. It shows the original line. Before, there was other meetings on site with Mr. Schmiel that they went and moved the wetland line after the original plan was they had to give.
Compare the two. I only have one copy.
I'll come over
Go
there
ahead.
next. Okay. Lisa, you're gonna have to come over and just give me a little, here's a 25 foot. Yeah, okay. And so, where is it here? Is that,
That's the lowest spot. These are the,
okay, no, okay, no, there's a little bump right here.
I'm looking at the riding ring.
Okay, he has pulled it out. It's, on his map, it's significantly pulled out from,
Is it pulled out or did we move the wetland edge?
No, it was pulled
I don't
out.
see it as moving the wetland edge, Lisa.
You can look at the maps.
He moved it towards the house. And, that comes in over here.
Jim,
Yeah,
excuse me, you can look at the maps all you want. She should go out there and verify the new wetland flag line.
No,
should
we're looking at the
probably-
two.
Slow down a little bit.
Okay.
The new wetland flag line is probably correct. How do you gotta go look to find out if it's correct.
But the other part of it is, I would like the house corners that are closest to the wetland staked out and this riding ring.
You know, the flag lines, Lisa, look, actually, look at this, here's the flag line here compared to this line, and it does come in. So, I mean, this here, the flag line looks pretty much the same, Lisa. Okay, this is brought out from here. From here, it's over here, I don't wanna make a mark on it, it's over here now. The house is, okay, the house is not even, I mean, the addition is not even on this one.
I have another question while you guys are looking at that. That temporary stockpile of
It's out
soil
of 50-foot
and
zone.
compost, what is he gonna do with that? Is he moving it?
It's gonna get spread out on the other portion of the property away from the wetland area, outside of the 100 foot. the
Has,
buffer.
the Board of Health reviewed this addition?
Not yet, no, because we're trying to get through the conservation first, and the Board of Health is next.
Actually, this looks okay.
Is that a tree?
You know, we could have them stake it
I
before
imagine
any
it
work
probably
is
is.
done.
You know, all of these.
I don't see anything pointing to it.
Okay, you set with it? Yeah.
All right, there's a difference between this one and this one.
No, not really. This is the one that Lisa had.
Yeah.
But, okay, the difference is he's pulled the paddock out from here to here. But Lisa was concerned about the wetland flag line here.
Well, then go verify it.
And, well, yeah, if you still have to get approval from whom?
Our Board of Health.
Board of Health, and when is that approval coming in?
We won't be in front of them until we're wrapped up here, so.
Okay,
I can see us confirming the delineation before they go to the Board of Health, but really we want them to have any changes to this, because you're gonna have a septic system, correct? And are you gonna modify the septic system? Another 1,500 square foot addition requires a new septic, right?
Well, what happens is we go and we calculate to make sure that whatever we're adding on will not influx into the septic system that's out there. So if the septic system was originally already designed for 4 bedrooms, and he only has currently 3, and he adds another bedroom, it's still within that provision. So then the leach field does not have to be upgraded. So we're gonna run through all the numbers and make sure that all works, because he has a pressure dose in the system right now that's out there.
Because if you get an order for this, then you have to close that out. Obviously, you need to include the septic system in that.
Well, the system is well outside the 100 feet. It's up at the front right corner of the property.
yeah, this
good.
is
Up
a
near
lot
the
of room
road.
there. There's plenty
That's
of room
good.
there.
Yep. It's nowhere close.
So your concern is you still want to verify the wetland line? And
I would like, I would like to make sure that the staked riding rink, now,
Okay.
where it's moved, I wanna know where it is in the field adjacent to the wetlands. I also would like to see more bushes. If the,
On the plan, okay, yeah, 29 bushes you
they
said?
don't have to be trees.
Yeah, that's rather, you know, if he's gonna plant high blueberry bushes, he might as well plant more and sell his blueberries.
Well, I don't have an issue adding more blueberries on there, which
Okay,
is fine.
what I would like to see is to continue it. Lisa go into the field, verify it, you stake the, where the corners of the, where the corners of the building are gonna be, and the paddock, where that's gonna be.
Yeah.
So that it can be verified. Now, if you, and, you know, and then we can wrap it up next month.
Yeah, next month I want to be in front of the Board of Health. I mean,
You can be on the front
I'd
of the Board of Health
I'd
at
rather
the
have
same
a
time.
conditional approval than a continuance.
Well, you can be in front of the Board of Health at the same time. Actually, I think
When
this
is the meeting?
this is something that doesn't even go, this just goes before
It
the
only,
agent.
it only goes for review. It doesn't even go in front of the board.
Yeah,
So, I mean, to push it off that much more, it just adds to all the other implications. So,
But if we find an error in the field, then you gotta come back for
then
an
it's
amendment.
a modification or an amendment at that point, yes.
So that you're gonna be delayed 2-3 months there.
Not necessarily, but
Do you guys have any questions as to,
No, I don't have any questions, but she should go verify the flag
it
line.
started as a violation.
That's the first
Now
thing.
it's turned into I need to add an addition to my restoration, and they want us to make a decision tonight, so I think we don't have to be pressured to make a decision tonight.
Oh, I know that. Okay, Charlie, you have any questions?
No, I haven't, just a comment. This has been continued for at least 6 or 7 meetings, for all different reasons. Another continuance is not gonna make a heck of a lot of difference. At least this time, we're getting close to closure.
The problem I see is next month, we're gonna be here and you're gonna find another little thing and it's gonna get continued another month.
So make sure we don't.
If you
Right now,
stick it,
I'm not willing to allow a continuance. Either,
By our bylaw, we can require a continuance. So you know that.
you can require a continuance and you'll have all the power in the world to do that. But if you do that, I will appeal this to the other DEP.
Then you're 6 months to a year down the line.
And DEP is gonna
that's-
come out
that's
and see
not-
the violation and say you have an Army Corps violation.
Well, I beg to differ with that too, but that's okay.
Jack, what were you gonna say?
all you gotta do is stake it out like she asked. Stake out the corners of the addition for the building, and stake out for the arena, the riding paddock. Let us look at it, and we can vote on it next month.
You know, Jack, actually, according to this plan, the house is outside, but as if the wetland is accurate.
Well, no, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
we're asking
Oh,
for
the
some
wetland
stakes, for
line
some
hasn't moved.
physical.
Okay.
I mean-
Well, this is gonna be,
They've been there a few times.
this is the last move, hopefully, that then will be done.
I have not been there or have been asked if I needed anything else from you guys in a long time, so.
Okay. Is there any comment from the audience? Okay, is there, someone have a motion as to the way we proceed?
Wait a minute. Are you insisting on closing the hearing?
Yes.
We can make all the motions we want, but we can we'll just have to reject the project.
Then, please do.
You want us to close the hearing, we'll close the hearing, and we'll issue, no orders, just rejection.
No, you gotta
complete
issue
waste
an
of
order stating your reasons why you're
Yes.
rejecting it.
So you're gonna do all of that for a month's time?
Whatever it takes, sir. It's,
Your choice. We've been at this for a long, long time. All kinds of dodges and all kinds of pushes, continuance after continuance, and now you want us to hurry up. We finally have a plan that we can work with, and you don't want to work with us.
that's not true. We worked with you, otherwise we wouldn't have revised the plan. If I wasn't willing to work with you, I would have asked you to close this at the last hearing.
The last 2 meetings are the only time we've had a consultant before us giving us plans. This was submitted, I don't know, when was it submitted?
A year ago.
We were actually here
We
to
waited.
go over the violations, and if you recall,
Well, that
I
was-
had made the presentation to showing
Yes,
how this
yes.
was
Three times.
violated way back when.
We waited and waited and waited for the restoration plan that you promised us months.
We waited for you for a long time. This could have been done, this could have been settled in the springtime probably.
Well, let me ask my client if, you wanna wait a month or not? Yeah? Then
Sensible.
we'll wait a month.
And I have
Well,
another question for you.
Okay, and hopefully we'll be all settled.
Do you have a DEP file number?
Yes,
Yeah,
He does, okay.
yeah.
174463.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion to continue then? Is that, you're requesting the continuance?
That'll be the request, and I'm gonna go.
Okay,
go put those-
and Lisa will
stake
be out
that
there. We're gonna want it staked where the corner of the house is, so she can see the wetland flagging, to verify that, and you'll mark off the paddock, and really, those are, Lisa, those are 3 issues, the wetland flagging, the paddock, markers, and the corner of the house, the corner of the addition.
Yeah, and, of course, you know, is the plan gonna change if they go to Board of Health? That's all I really need to know.
If it does, then they're
Oh,
gonna come
and
back, if it does change, then they're going to come back for an amendment.
And I want additional bushes. 29
Okay,
is
he's
not,
gonna do that.
I'll add a few more in there for you.
I mean, 7,500 square feet. If I was
but if
doing a
you-
planting for that.
If you let it naturally vegetate, it'll grow up in there like nothing.
But it will take, yeah, it'll take some years though, for the bushes to seed themselves in and, okay. All right, is there a motion to continue?
Make a motion, we continue, Cedar Street till, 11/17.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and hopefully that we're gonna give you all set for next month. I mean, real close today.
So let me know when it's staked. Just give me a couple days and I'll get out.
It'll be ready by next, Thursday.
Dead base headed home.
Okay,
Well, hopefully. All right, guys.
thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, notice of intent request from Rachel Andrade, 2878 Elm Street, to construct a single-family dwelling and all associated grading and utilities within the buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland. That request has already been made by the applicant, by the Farland Corporation, to continue to 11/17. Is there a motion to continue?
I make a motion, we continue, Elm Street till 11/17.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Greg, you're up.
Okay, notice of intent by Thomas and Nicole Santos, Lot 1A off Smith Street, for a single-family home and associated amenities that include a septic system, garage, and associated grading and disturbance to be done within the buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland. Did you, this here, do you have paperwork for the payment?
You sent in the green card.
Yes, I have them with me if you want.
Yeah, we'll take them. And then, you did provide payment for the legal.
One of the two.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, I'm Gregory Drake from Outback Engineering, representing
Greg? Did you say Greg?
Greg, yes. Gregory Drake. From Outback Engineering, representing Thomas and Nicole Santos. They are proposing to construct a single-family home with a driveway, garage, and septic system at a vacant lot off of Smith Street in Dayton. The driveway and parts of the house and garage are located within the 100-foot buffer of the wetland. There are actually two wetlands on site. There's one on the eastern end over here, and then one off-site to the west. So the buffer hits the house and garage on this side.
would you show me Smith Street there? Okay, so now, is that whole area the frontage?
Right here, yes.
Okay, all right.
None of the work proposed encroaches into the 25-foot no-touch buffer. Lisa reviewed the plan, and she did say that we proposed the wall in the wrong location. It was next to the 25-foot buffer. So this plan is actually new. I sent it to Lisa, but I don't have copies of it. We have actually moved the wall outside the 50 now, where before the plans that we sent in originally was at the 25. So
Okay, so, okay,
actually, if I turn this around, it's a little bigger.
So on the lot next door to this, we were a little concerned about, runoff onto the street, and I know this is even closer to the BVW, so do you think it needs a culvert? I don't know. Okay,
It's an engineering
I know it is.
culvert at the end of the drive.
Yeah. And then the other question I had was.
Shows a culvert going across the street.
Yeah, there is one underneath,
An 18-inch culvert.
but I'm wondering if there should be one under the driveway. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
put a
Here, that's,
DPW director on the spot right now and ask him what he thinks. We got the DPW director in the audience, so I didn't know if we wanted to put him on the
Hot
spot.
seat.
Wanna
Where
take a
is he?
look at this?
about where that culvert goes, because it connects to another wetland.
We're asking Mr. Ferry to come up and take a look at it since,
Have you seen this at all? No.
What's the last name?
This is lot 1 next to Mr. Gilbert's old house on Smith.
Look at that.
It's just south of his house. Remember, we just approved a lot to the south of this?
There's no house in between that last house? It was,
This is the house, so this would be the last one from the Goggin property.
right, yeah, right. Yes, it was supposed to have pipe under the driveway.
Yeah, so do you think this house needs a pipe under the driveway too? Because this one's even closer.
I didn't know you had room to put it there.
I know.
So there's a ditch between that house to the south and, protected area.
And this lot here,
There's a protected area.
there's a site right here.
And this is protected area here. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a ditch on the shoulder of the road going that way. That's what's flowing, that.
so what's gonna happen, you're gonna have water back up there.
If you don't put a pipe.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. And the other thing I would like is,
You
Okay.
talked about Board of Health approval, when we spoke.
right, so, yeah, that needs to happen before we finalize this.
I'm sure, I think we submitted to that too.
Did you, yeah, oh yeah, he admitted that he has it, but he's,
Yeah, he just got it just like,
yeah, he's, yeah. He can't keep, he's treading water over there.
Okay, so you're gonna need the Board of Health approval for everything, and probably a pipe under the driveway,
This is single family lot.
to continue that flow, otherwise it's just gonna back up and go over it, and your driveway's gonna fall apart.
yep,
And then I would like the 100-foot, so you get the only thing in the 100-foot is the grading, right? And the driveway, right?
in the, yeah,
Okay,
pretty much need a little bit of the
all right.
garage in the end of the house, but minimal.
So could you stake out that 100-foot and then the driveway, what I did with the other lot was I had the 25-foot staked out. Is the driveway within the 25-foot?
No, everything's outside the 25
Yeah, I'm
foot.
sorry, I can't read that scale, so I gave them my big one.
No, so everything's outside the 25 foot. So
Yeah.
we're not-
But like, if you
Crouching in
could
there.
stake out that 25-foot for them, and then stake out the erosion control, we're gonna want this erosion control line staked out anyway, so when you do that,
So you want to stake out so you can see it?
yeah,
and
so
there
they know
might be
where it
markers
is.
As well along that
Yeah.
zone.
So one of the things we have now are little markers that we have people purchase for what we paid for them, so we paid $1 each. So we'll have them purchase them, and, they'll go along,
25 foot no touch zone.
well, in some of the area, he's not even gonna be close to it,
No,
so, yeah.
Well, he can determine it, you know,
Yeah.
they need 5 or whatever, or 10.
Yeah, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flags, but then you also have a wetland in the back. Are there flags up there right now? I need a site visit.
Yeah. 'Cause I haven't been onto the property yet.
Can you
Jason's been
check?
working with that.
Before I go out there, cause
Yeah.
I went
I'll
out
check with
for this
Jason.
lot and I didn't see any flags out there. And then who
Yeah, well,
flagged?
that's off-site, so that
Yeah,
may be the,
okay.
Okay.
And then who flagged all this when? Was it Ecosystems? I think so too.
or, Tom, you, was it Eco?
It was flagged last year, I forget the guy's name, that sounds right.
Yeah, Brandon Fana.
Flagged as well.
Okay. So, yeah, we gotta make sure the flags are up.
Last year, they should still be there, but we can go out and.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna check that out and the staking out before I go out, and then just let me know and we'll meet out there or whatever.
Okay,
That'd be good.
okay.
But yeah, the culvert issue at the front is a big deal.
Yeah, I'll talk with Jason on that, because that shouldn't be a big deal to do, and you want to do it anyway, so.
Yeah, the water flows down there really, really rapidly, so.
Okay.
Okay, so you, so we're looking for 2 things then, I guess, 2 things, Board of Health approval and, the culvert to, be shown on the, you know, under the driveway, and that would, be very conducive to longevity of the driveway and,
Yeah, I understand.
And do you have paper copies for me
For the,
of this newest rendition?
you can have this one,
Okay,
and then, but it's gonna change, obviously.
yeah, I know.
But I'll give you this one.
Okay, I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
I
Greg,
guess we'll
I
have
have a
to,
question.
Sure.
Is that swale outside the property line or inside the property line?
the swale,
Street side?
Yes, it's in front of the wall,
Inside the wall?
between the wall and the street. But you'll need to entertain at least
Just wait.
outside the wall?
Between that wall that's there and the street, is where that swale is.
Oh, the swale,
Yeah.
yeah, he's talking about this. Yeah, again, Jason, the engineer, is working on this, and then I put together the NOI, so that's why I'm not as familiar with the site as
But
As it should be,
we
but-
can have Greg do some landscaping plans. He's a landscape architect.
you guys get any questions?
Yeah, no, I just wanna do a site visit and make sure everything's out there before I
Okay.
do.
We're gonna have a continuance,
Yes,
okay?
that's the continuance.
Thank you.
At least we'll have you sign something that, for the continuance, that you requested it, or we can,
Yeah, I mean, we'll go.
okay? Is there,
I make a motion, we continue, lot out to Smith Street till, 11/17.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Greg, I do have this for you.
Bill, I don't know if you've seen this. I just got it from Lisa. This is the trails. Okay, next we have a notice of intent, it was a site soil evaluation of the Taunton River Trails at Sweet Knolls State Park to support the design of a 2.1-mile-long multi-use trail extending from Somerset Avenue to Sandpiper Way along a division of Conservation and Recreation owned corridor. Soil evaluations will occur within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland, the riverfront area, and a few will occur within the bordering land subject to flooding. Okay. All right, this is,
Oh, this one,
okay.
yeah, we can go over some of that.
You know, guys, we've only waited 20 years for this.
Well, we're going to do our best to really get things rolling this evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Gerald Altler. I'm Director of Trails and Greenways with the Department of Conservation and Recreation. And with me are consultants Jennifer Relsted and Amy Ball of Horsley Witten. They're our design and permitting consultants on this project.
You're going too fast for me. I didn't get your,
Sorry about that.
I didn't get
You know,
your last name.
When you get older, your ears get slower.
It's on the presentation, and I believe it's in, do they have a printout of the whole presentation?
Just, Gerald, just give me your last
Here
name.
you go.
A-U-T-L-E-R.
A-U-T-L-E-R.
Graphics too.
We, at the next meeting, it's likely that Amber Christofferson, who's one of our Trails and Greenways planners and the project manager for this project, will be representing DCR. So if you see somebody who looks quite different than the person standing before you this evening, that's an explanation for why. So she wasn't able to make it this evening, and I wanted to be here to represent DCR. Sounds like you're familiar with the concept of the Taunton River Trail as a whole. It's a proposed 22-mile trail, some of which is in Dayton, some of which is in other municipalities. The Department of Conservation and Recreation owns only a 2-mile piece of that, connected with Sweets Knoll State Park. It's a former rail corridor, and we're proposing to convert that rail corridor into a shared use path running from the intersection down at Somerset Ave up to just behind Sandpiper Way, with associated improvements to the parking and access at the existing Sweets Knoll State Park headquarters, which is a former residential structure that you see on Somerset Ave. Next slide. So goals, of course, as I mentioned, create a shared use accessible path, protect environmental and cultural resource areas. We're the Department of Conservation and Recreation, so we care about both of those things. And of course, you care about conservation, particularly the important wetland and river resources, improving local connectivity and accessibility. We are initiating the design of trailheads. That means we're working collaboratively with other town officials. So some of them we will, perhaps with an easement on town land, like down at Somerset Ave, advance to full design, construction, and DCR maintenance and management, which will relieve the town of those expenses. Others, like in this area, we would like to work with the town to create a connection, but it will probably be built and maintained by the town. Looks like you might have a question for me.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm saving them.
And of course, prioritizing access to the river at different points, particularly at the existing Sweets Knoll State Park. Pedestrian access for people to enjoy that, fishing access at the railroad bridge, canoe and kayak launch, all of which are things you can currently do, but we really want to enhance those opportunities for residents of Dayton and beyond. And I'll just do one more slide and then turn it over to Jen. So we've done some research on the benefits of shared use paths. Health allows people to get out and be active for recreation and in some cases for transportation as well to get to certain destinations. Increases opportunities for users of all ages and abilities to get out and enjoy nature and be active. In many cases, we find it lowers crash rates on nearby roadways and deters crime. So it's always a concern for people, if you're permitting access into an area where there isn't currently access, what will that do? And that's a legitimate question. What we've found over the experience of years of building these is that when you have an abandoned rail corridor or something similar, that actually attracts people who drink or do other things that you might not want them doing. When you open it up, when there's public access, when there's maintenance, when there's DCR staff and sometimes local law enforcement patrolling, it actually deters those kinds of activities that might have taken place. And finally, we can use this as an opportunity to actually enhance environmental protection, right? There's contamination in some of those old railroad ties. We can make sure that we're planting native species, we're improving stormwater runoff performance, and so on. And before I turn over to Jen, just one anecdote. On one of my previous visits here, I was outside the town offices, and there's a group of people. They seem to be regulars because I saw one of them more than once, on more than one visit, actively walking around the track there. And I started chatting with him and told him what we were planning, and he said, similar to you, he said, when are you going to be able to build it? Is it going to start this year? And so it was a great indication for me of the kind of amount of enthusiasm that some people have here, because that will allow people like him who currently walk on the track to go out and enjoy 2 miles of beautiful scenery along the river. So I'm here to answer any questions if you have them, but I'll turn it over to the consultants who will get into more of the technical details about our NOI. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Jennifer Relstab. I'm a senior water resources engineer with Horsley Witten Group. We come before you today to discuss geotechnical boring and test pits, essentially soil evaluations for the purposes of the project. Gerald mentioned this is a 2-mile project which extends roughly from, this image here is kind of hard to see, but extends from Somerset Avenue all the way to Sandpiper Way. And we are intending to do a geotechnical and borings and test pits for the purposes of getting some additional information for the purposes of design. We are currently in concept design. We actually, we've presented twice to the public, once in March and just recently this past September, regarding the concept design, and I encourage members of the commission and members of the public to go on DCR's website to see that presentation. We are currently in schematic design, and we do plan on permitting the full design sometime in 2023, late spring, early summer. So this is not for the purposes of the design, and we won't go into much detail about the design itself. We're mostly going to speak to the geotechnical borings and test pits at this time. Next slide, Amy. But I did want to give a little bit of a sense. I know we haven't had a chance to meet on site yet. I do believe we are intending to do that following the hearing today. But I did want to just give a chance to speak to what the existing conditions are. In some of the right-of-way rail bed, you can see no rail ties or rail bed exists currently. It is quite open in some places. In other places, it is quite narrow, and there are rail ties and rails still existing, and footpaths that sort of go alongside that. Next slide, please. Thank you. There are, in certain areas, like I said, tight spaces where the footpath goes, exists on one or the other side. And there are also resource areas that abut some of the tracks, particularly at Center Street, and again, a little bit further to the north, right by Town Hall. Next slide. We are also intending with this project to evaluate the option of putting some sort of bridge, culvert, tunnel underneath Center Street to allow for the continuous use of the bike path from Somerset Avenue to the north. And in addition to that, we are also looking at going over the Segregansett River, utilizing the existing steel superstructure with some new decking. And we are looking at sort of creating some amenities around that, which will help with access for fishing, overlooks, and in general, just getting closer to the Segregansett and Taunton Rivers in that spot. Next slide, Amy.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Amy Ball. I'm the senior ecologist with the Horsley Witten Group. Horsley Witten Group did not actually do the field delineation. We have a subconsultant, PAR Engineering, and they have gone out and delineated the boundaries of the bordering vegetated wetlands, isolated vegetated wetlands, the median high water along both Segregansett River, the Taunton River, and inland bank in some locations, and I believe they've also identified at least one vernal pool that it was actively being used, and they've investigated some other areas. So the reason we are before the commission is because some of the soil borings and the test pits, while they are largely in the buffer zone to the wetland resource areas or within the riverfront area of one or the other of the two rivers, which under the Wetlands Protection Act would be an exempt activity, under your local bylaw is not. And then further, there's two of the test pits, and I think one of the borings is also within the bordering land subject to flooding. So that's why we're here right now discussing the project in sort of the concept design just for these borings, so that we can gain your permission to do this and to collect this additional data that will inform the design of the ultimate project. I think that's it.
Perfect. Okay, so the next slide just speaks to what exactly we're proposing at this time. So on Center Street, we're proposing 2 geotechnical borings for the purposes of structural evaluation. So as I mentioned, we're looking at options for putting a bridge or a culvert underneath Center Street, and a structure like that would require some information about existing subsurface conditions at those locations for the footings of that structure. So those 2 borings will be located.
That's a span that was filled and built over the top. There used to be an open bridge, but
Yes.
when they took it out, they just filled it and built a bridge over it, so.
That is correct. So we
They had the opportunity to put a 10-foot culvert in there, but they didn't want them.
That is correct. We understand Park Corporation did a study a few months ago evaluating the different plans that were available. Of course, there are no plans available. And we understand from anecdotal evidence that it was, in fact, and we can see old photos of the bridge with the stone abutments, and we understand that the superstructure and the decking was all removed, and it was filled in, and then, of course, the new road on top of it. We understand from our visual observations and talking with Mass DOT that it is likely, or at least potential, that the abutments, the stone abutments might be there, and then there might be some historical railroad items that could be within that fill. And we also don't know what the fill is. Could be dirt or a combination of dirt and other things. So that's the test pit. So the borings are for the structural engineering for the footings, and the 2 test pits that we're proposing in the center are really to help us understand what type of fill is in there, and then if there is an existing abutment that is there, that will help us to sort of navigate that as well. For the Segregansett River Bridge, the north abutment, just north of that, as I mentioned, we're proposing a overlook structure, an accessible wooden deck that would go cantilever over a portion of the Taunton right at the Segregansett River Bridge that is intended to be used as a fishing pier, and also have an overlook. And so for that kind of a structure, we would need some additional structural geotechnical borings as well. We're only proposing 1 in that location. And then as far as additional evaluations, DCR is proposing to do at this time 3 to 6. We're proposing 4 in the current configuration of additional soil borings along DCR's right-of-way to get some information about soil texture at certain parts of the right-of-way to understand what the subsurface conditions are for the path material, for stormwater, and the hope hit there is that those are 10-foot deep borings, so relatively shallow, and the hope is that it's going to be relatively easy to access, and we'll talk about that in a second. The equipment that we're proposing to use for the borings is an ATV or an all-terrain vehicle mounted geoprobe that is placed on rubber tracks that can go over rough terrain. It is relatively small. It's about, the smallest is about 4 feet wide, moderate is about 6 feet, I think, in width, and is able to sort of get around some of the tough terrain that we obviously will have in these sites. The borings are conducted with 2 to 3 inch tubing that is then put into the ground. It extracts the soil soil, we evaluate the conditions, we put that soil back when we're done, and leave it in place. Those holes, like I said, are 2 to 3 inches. The test pits we're proposing to use with a vacuum excavator. This is much cleaner than using an actual excavator. The hole is relatively small, a couple feet wide at most, and that would go down to a depth of 10 feet. The soils that are pulled out are put into a truck, and when we're done doing our evaluations, they're put right back. And then on Center Street, obviously we would patch the road. In terms of impact on Center Street with traffic management, our consultants, Park Corporation, and their subcontractor for the geotechnical will work with the town in terms of notification, traffic management, and all associated permits that will be required as part of doing the work on the roadway. And we obviously will coordinate with DCR as needed, and notifying you guys at least 2 weeks in advance, if not more, as to when that work would be completed. I think as far as timing is concerned, assuming that we receive approval from the commission, we would proceed sometime in December with the work. Each boring or test pit takes about a day's worth of effort. We would probably complete, upon starting the work, complete the efforts within 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully that will be of total, overall, all of them. Of course, we would try to coordinate so that, because there's 2 pieces of equipment needed for the test pit and the borings, our hope would be that we could try to use those simultaneously in those on Center Street so that the traffic would be impacted the least amount as possible. And then just in terms of access for the other borings that we're talking about, sorry, just keep going. I'm gonna go past these if you don't mind. We'll come back to that. Just go away to the photos. There. Yeah, so these are the 2 on Center Street, or the 4 on Center Street, the 2 borings and 2 test pits. Can you go to the next one? And then there's a boring. It's a little bit hard to see. So right in the smack in the middle is where the bridge currently is, and then we're looking to do something on the right or the north abutment. Next one. And so the access points for the 4 additional soil borings that we're proposing, there are 2 that are located to the south of Segregansett River. Those would be accessed through the Somerset Avenue gravel parking lot. So the consultant's trucks, and that would be parked in the parking lot, and the ATV vehicle would be go through the south end to access those 2 locations to the north. Next slide. We have one that's proposed just at the northeast corner of the Sweets Knoll area on the right-of-way. That would be located through Sweets Knoll. Again, we would park our contractor vehicles at the Sweets Knoll at the building, and the ATV vehicle has 2 options. There's an access point through these boulders, which we could adjust, and then there's also an emergency access on the south side of that building, a gate that could be opened. Next slide. And lastly, we're proposing one that is just off of Town Hall property on the right-of-way, and there currently is a grass mowed access point that connects from near the pump house and goes behind the field, and then access goes right to where the right-of-way is right near Town Hall. Amy, do you want to speak to any of those figures in terms of constraints? Or we can reference, I mean, the figures, yeah, so attachment C, so we've provided for you our wetland delineation, of which we would, we've met with Lisa in the past in the field. I think we need to do some additional field visits with her to look at that. I think we will go towards, at the NOI process through the design review, towards approving that delineation, and of course the design. That is just for your reference. It wasn't included in our submittal. Attachment C is the additional location of additional figures that show those maps that we didn't go through, but that it's hard to read from this angle anyways, but that show all of the environmental resource areas where they're located relative to our borings and test pits. Anything else?
I think so.
Okay.
Very thorough, thank you.
Try.
Imagine you would have questions.
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking of questions to ask, but I think you've covered them all. And Do you guys have any questions? Charlie, Bill, or Jack, or David? Okay. Any questions from the audience? Your name, please, and address?
Ray Doherty. I was a long time Titan natives. I own Helen Lane's house. And if you don't know where that is, it's the last house before you hit the Aggie School. Okay? Big porch across the front. I have a storm drain in front of my property. And I think altogether like 2 or 3 of them. And I think that they drain into the ditch. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
What's gonna happen with that?
That was a good question. So I'll just, everybody heard, but so I think the question is, you know, what are we doing with the stormwater at the Center Street? So I don't have an answer to that. We are in process of working with our design team to look at that. We acknowledge that not only is there stormwater coming to that site, but there are wetland resource areas that abut the existing right-of-way on both sides, both to the north, or sorry, west and east of that location. And that has been that way for some time, at least since the bridge was filled. So we will be looking into not just there, actually other places on the track as well, managing the stormwater from the path itself and any improvements we will make, but also managing some of the stormwater that is coming off of Center Street and the associated drainage areas from there.
You all set?
Yeah.
Okay, because right now, this is for the test borings, then the
Explore.
engineering to solve problems will come later.
Sorry I created that.
Yes,
Yeah, that's good, thank you.
My name is Jennifer O'Keefe. I'm with the Taunton River Watershed Alliance, and I work for the last couple of years. I've been on the Diamondback Terrapin population survey. And if you get me the exact locations, I can check the soil around where you're gonna bore and just make sure there's no overwintering nests.
Okay.
And if you get that to me pretty soon, I could do it before the ground freezes, because then I could just relocate the nest, if there is a nest there, and just make sure.
Okay.
We're not attacking the
And
population.
if we have to, we could invite her or her colleague
Yeah, yeah.
to come with us, so then we can just, they can look at the
I mean,
same.
it sounds like it's a really small,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
impact
But
of the big
still.
area, which is fabulous.
Somewhere.
And I can just check it before the ground freezes.
I think my colleague Amy is going to give you her card
Yeah.
to coordinate
That would be great.
turtle sweeping, turtle nest sweeping.
yeah.
Exact locations I can check. That's great.
okay.
Thank you, Jen.
Any questions again? Okay, oh, yes, okay.
Hi, my name is Diana Hopkins. I live on Somerset Ave. What does DCR do now to maintain Sweets Knoll?
I can't give a terribly detailed answer, but we don't have permanent staff on site there. We do have staff in the region who are responsible for a lot of parks, and so if there's specific.
Yeah, like how often do you come and mow the grass or walk the grounds or, you know, see what's going on down there in terms of, you know, usage and
Yeah, I can check with our operations staff and get you a more precise answer, but I think, you know, referencing what I said before, I don't think they are regularly patrolling the 2-mile corridor, because most of it is overgrown and inaccessible, and so certainly with this kind of investment of many millions of dollars in a facility like this, that would mean, you know, a commensurate increase in the staffing and maintenance budget and so on, and more presence of staff on site.
I guess my concern is that I'm sure that the land that you purchased for Sweets Knoll was also many millions of dollars, and it really doesn't get maintained, it doesn't get taken care of. Our property abuts that, you know, is just adjacent to that.
Yeah.
And if I see somebody come and mow that grass once a year, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not really being taken care of, and so I don't think DCR has given the residents a lot to trust in. And so I'm concerned about you know, certainly the environmental impact, but also who's gonna be taking care of that, not just in the 5 years after it's built, but in the 15 or 20 years after it's built, to make sure that it's not ending up the way that Sweets Knoll has ended up.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
no,
that's not even really a great place to go walk around.
yeah, no, I mean, I hear you, and I think this is part of our effort to take the property. I don't remember exactly when it was acquired, well, I've only been at DCR a little over a year, so I wasn't working there when it was acquired, but this is an effort to take a property that was acquired that hasn't seen much investment or much use, and really make it accessible to the public, bring it up to the standards that we want, and, you know, and have more of that ongoing maintenance. So if there's specific concerns that you have, because it's best
Yeah,
case scenario, a few years out
Yeah.
before this gets built. But so if there's specific concerns you have, then I'm happy to take them to operations, and you can have my.
I just have one other question as well. So where our property, again, comes right up to the rail trail, is there a plan to put in fencing along the rail trail, and what's that going to do to further fragment the habitat that's there? Because we constantly have deer moving through our backyard, we have turtles coming up into our backyard to nest. There's a lot of animals that move through there, so
Right.
what's your plan to
So generally, we.
still make that accessible?
Yeah, so generally, we would not want to put in fencing, but we also understand that there are privacy concerns from abutters, so we would work individually with you and other abutters to make sure that we strike a balance there. So it could be plantings instead of fences, right, that can address some of the privacy issues, but still allow that, you know, animals to be able to pass through. So, you know, again, I'm happy to give you my contact information, and then my colleague, as I mentioned, is the project manager. But that's part of the process. We've had 2 public meetings on.
Yes, I attended one.
Okay, yeah, so, and we will have more of them, and then as we get farther along in the design process, obviously, we can work more individually with you and other abutters. Thanks for your comments.
I just want to let everybody know too, so this notice of intent, you abutters, and every abutter within 300 feet of the property line get notified, but then they're gonna be filing again for the actual trail, so you'll get notified again, just so you guys know.
Can I?
Oh, wow, okay. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Dennis Duarte, this is my mother Brenda. We own property right down here on 731, which is the far north end of where the trail is supposed to be put in. I think some of the pictures that you guys put up were parts of my property where I keep it maintained. I've had instances with, I've had instances where I've had Charlie come down to my property for some other reasons that, you know, aren't reflective of this path, but I own property on both sides of the rail line. I have a property that's approximately 11 acres that extends from 138 to the river itself. So the right-of-way passes right through the center of my property. I maintain both sides of my property. So it's manicured, it's freshly mowed. You know, the wetlands are made sure nothing happens. So my concern is that I currently already have a lot of people trespassing on my property because either people on kayaks coming up and down the river, they see a nice open area where it looks like you can have a picnic, I've got a swing down there, and I've constantly got people trespassing, whether they're fishing, they're coming through on their kayaks, or they're getting out and going for a walk, or I've even caught people urinating on my property. I don't want a walking path cutting through my property where I'm mowing it and maintaining it. I know you said that you'll work with the butters, but I feel that anything that is going to have more foot traffic through that path, that already divides my property in half, is just gonna worsen my situation.
Not to mention, we do have small children that live there, strangers going by. We can't watch them every second of every day when there are a bunch of strangers walking through the back of our yard. And it's literally walking straight through the back of our yard.
You know, like I said, I'm on the far end where the Sandpiper Way is, so I'm probably only a few properties away from where the end would be. If you guys want to stop it before my property, I'm fine with it. I don't want.
So I don't want to speak for the commissioners, but this body regulates activities within the jurisdictional areas, wetlands and river.
This is wetlands.
Yeah, and
This
so
is
if
not
you have
planning or
concerns, as
zoning.
you clearly do about the trail, then, I'm happy to set up some time, as DCR, as the entity that's designing, the
Well, we just
the
got the
facility.
notification in the
We
mail
just
that
got
there
it
was a
2 days
survey
ago.
tonight, that there was a committee meeting tonight, and we wanted to make ourselves present and make us.
Well, let's make sure we have your contact information, and you can have mine before we leave. We had sent out a butter notices, we thought to, if we missed you, I apologize for that, but to all of the abutters before our initial public meeting back in March. So-
No,
No.
no,
This is the
and
first
you
one
haven't
we've
crossed
done.
my
That's
property
been a few
to do your drilling, literally. I own the dog tail at the bottom of Sandpiper.
We're
Is near a
we're not
DEP
drilling,
system, so if
we're
you
not
guys-
drilling down there.
Not at all.
No.
That's my question answered.
So, if something didn't happen, I personally pulled every address from, Google Maps, made a list and gave it to our outreach director, and I was under the impression that he had sent,
This is the first for us.
okay, so I apologize for that, because we made an effort to reach out and notify all of the direct abutters and near abutters of the first public meeting back in March. So I'll talk to our outreach director and find out what happened.
And these came certified, so I don't know if that made a difference.
Yeah, and if you want to, maybe what we can do is just circulate a sheet, so that you can put down your name, email, whatever your purpose.
It's on that list.
Oh, it is, okay. I'll get that and make sure that we send out notification before our next public meeting.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And I'm happy, if anybody wants my contact information before we leave here tonight, I'm happy to give it to you, and then, we can talk about any questions or concerns you have.
Okay, I see another hand. I thought I was gonna close it.
I just have one question, I promise it's simple. My name's Althea Yansky. I live on Somerset Ave, 1425. I just want to make sure, so the drilling that you're going to do the soil testing, it's not going to occur on our property at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
And I did have another question.
Sure.
So you are going to be filing for the actual project of the rail trail.
Yes.
But right now you're gonna have, we're gonna do a site visit, and then I'm assuming we're gonna close at the next meeting. After the site visit, I'll issue the orders. You guys will do the work. You'll come in for a certificate of compliance really quick.
That is correct. And we'll we'll submit another NOI for the
Yeah.
design portion
So
of the
like,
project.
what is going to, how many square feet of disturbance total are you estimating for this?
It was this.
For the boring?
Total, yeah.
We were
all
pretty generous, I think we said about 50 square feet.
50 square feet,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
you're gonna have like straw on hand for,
I mean, it is so small that typically it's just, we put it right back in, we
Yeah.
stomp it down and leave it, and usually it's no more or less with the exception of Center Street. Center Street, obviously, we have
Yeah.
to pave over that. We don't typically seed it. I mean, we can discuss that if you want
yeah,
to.
well, let's look at it
Yeah.
when we're on the site visit and
Yeah.
figure out, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We all set? Okay, no more questions. Okay, are you all set?
I think we're all set.
I know that you have more business, so I'll wait, in the lobby or outside if anybody wants to ask any questions or.
I think they're willing to continue, so we can have a site visit, so I think that's.
Is that your desire?
You want me to be honest?
Yes.
I mean, we'd love to close and still go to a site visit, but that's totally.
Well, we could still have a site visit because you're gonna be within the tracks.
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a matter of me getting the orders of conditions out. Yeah, it's just pressure on me.
Right, so Steve has a 21-day after we close the hearing. So I think that's part of what we were thinking.
Well, when we were supposed to have a site visit,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago,
That's
and we didn't, and it was canceled.
That's right. Yep.
So Monday, why don't we set it up, I'd rather not set it up right now, I wanna keep going with the meeting.
Okay, if you set up
I'll
a
just say,
site,
if it's possible to close tonight, that would be great, not only because it avoids.
but we'll still have a site visit.
That's correct.
But
That's
it
correct.
also gives
We'll
us
still
more
have
flexibility to do this work before the winter rather than waiting until.
Okay,
Good idea.
okay.
And Lisa.
Is there a motion?
Jim
Is there a-
Digits is gonna write the.
No,
orders.
no, it's one of you guys gotta make it, to close the hearing and issue an order of is it order of conditions, or is it,
That's what
Yes.
we're waiting for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be in order.
I'm waiting for a motion
I make a motion, we close
to
the
close the
hearing.
hearing and issue an order of conditions.
That's what we wanna hear.
Yeah.
Sure,
Oh,
I'll make a
okay.
motion for that.
Is there a motion to close the
Yes.
hearing and
There's a
issue an
motion-
order of
There's
conditions?
a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions for the Taunton River Trail project.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I might need that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
but that, part of that would
Yes.
be, okay.
We're on top of it.
Fun night out, folks. Look at everybody here, they're all,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thank you, I appreciate it. It depends if I can reel everybody in for signatures or not, so. Thanks, Amy. Drive safe. Oh, did you wanna, yeah, you don't need to. You're closed, so I was gonna ask you to sign a continuance. Okay.
let's let them clear before we start the next one. Okay, could we, with those that are leaving, please exit so we can continue our meeting? Okay, our next item of business is a request for determination of applicability by Sean Urban for a new gas line at property located at 130 Lincoln Avenue. The project is within the riverfront area.
Barely, but just makes it just enough so I have to come and do this and see you people.
Did you pay?
Yeah, so we paid the advertising fee and, which I emailed and, which I hadn't gotten to email, but I have copies of, is the certified receipts
All right, I'll
from
take it.
the post office.
Okay. Thank you.
Notice to all the abutters, so.
Okay,
As far as we know, the gas company has said that they'll probably at this point do the work, probably early April.
okay. Well, you're on the opposite side of Lincoln Avenue, on the west side,
Yes.
and even though it's in the riverfront area, it goes up a hill, you're far out of the wetlands.
Yeah, I'm about 6 feet above the hill, above the river, even at its highest. We had that 1,000-year flood, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And the water didn't even trickle down my end of the road.
Yeah,
So,
no, I remember that.
It happens.
But riverfront area, unfortunately.
It's
and,
what it is. You don't make the rules, you got to obey them, though.
Are there any questions from anyone?
No, I know what he's going to do and I
Yeah,
know
well,
how.
it's a gas line. So,
It's just the removal of the vegetation's the grass in the front. Gas company has said they're going to replace it all, and we'll make sure it's seeded and up to snuff.
Okay, no David or Charlie,
What's the new guy? Let's see.
I asked for David.
Oh, David is his name?
David, yes.
David's like a sponge taking it all in.
Okay, any questions from the audience? Okay, this is really cut and dry. Is there a motion to give a negative determination to Mr. Urban for his project?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're out. Look at that, waiting all this time. Wait, look how much you learned. You learned so much.
So what you need from me is a negative determination. You need paperwork. Just give me a little time. Technically, I have 21 days, but I'll get it to you if you want to call me on Thursday or next Monday.
Sure. Yep, we can do that. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay. Next hearing is request for determination of applicability from Massachusetts Electric Company for utility pole replacement and relocation project on Main Street. Work is within the buffer zone of various regulated wetland areas.
I got the partner's bag. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. You want some more stuff?
Not really. Okay. Okay, this is what you have up here, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're on.
Okay.
And you are.
For the record, my name is Peter Backus, Backhus. I'm environmental scientist with Ty and Bond on behalf of the Massachusetts Electric Company. For this project, we're looking to complement or accommodate the sidewalk project being done, I believe, by the DPW in the town on Main Street. And so to accommodate that, Massachusetts Electric Company has to move some poles. So there are 74 poles between Elm Street and William Street, and I think five more on William Street itself that need to just be adjusted because of the movements will adjust the tensions in the cables and whatnot. So there's 74 poles. They will all be replaced. Most of them are actually going to be in place, the same way if a tree fell, a car hit it, they just drill right next to it. They'll temporarily stabilize it so Verizon can come out and get all their equipment off the old pole, and they're going to string up new power line on those poles as well.
Okay, and who takes the old ones down?
Verizon will once they move the equipment. So with that, that's really the main thing of it. There are, because it's going to be further in from the road with the sidewalk, there's going to be trimming and possibly removal of up to 6 trees. That's going to be kind of a on-the-spot determination if they actually need to come down or not. I think they're trying to trim as much as they can, but there is a dead ash, I believe, that probably will, no matter what, have to come down. It's leaning over. And then a couple others that are just over the current poles. And yeah, with that, all the work will take place within the right-of-way, the existing road and the existing maintained shoulder. And that's pretty much all they need to do. Pretty simple stuff there. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for?
No, they do a pretty good job, and the poles in wetlands have to be replaced because they rot.
Yeah, and I think there are a couple.
Now they have to be moved for a sidewalk.
I don't think any are actually in the wetland. There are a bunch I know in this section here that are within the 25 foot, but all of the poles are physically going to be out. I mean, they'll still be in that nice flat shoulder that's level with the road. None of them are on the inside slope. Actually, I believe one pole is actually going to leave riverfront area because they're going to put it on the right side, and it's like within 3 feet. So,
I do have a question.
Yeah.
What do you use for erosion controls? Do you use straw wattles or do you use the silt socks or Filtrex?
Whatever's up for you. National Grid has a whole packet they can send you. We can send on your behalf, and they can, dealer's choice.
I do not like the straw wattles at all. So.
Yeah, no, they have a whole packet of BMPs, and you can say if this is what you want, we'll throw it in.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, not expecting any impacts because we're just moving the poles and the old ones are getting filled in, so the actual square footage in the end should be the same.
Okay.
No
Again,
questions.
any questions?
And, we already have an order of conditions out for Main Street.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
If from the audience, any questions?
The poles that they're putting in, are they gonna be putting in where they presently are?
Almost all of the poles will be. There are 15 poles that have to get moved. 10 of those are within a foot, so you might see a couple inches between them. There are 4 along the bridge at Muddy Cove Brook, not the one at the pond, but the one a little up the street. Those are going to be moved about 3 feet on average. A couple of them are 2.
Pretty much they're gonna be replaced and put back roughly where they are now.
Yeah, just as you see, like if somebody hits a pole with a car or a tree comes down, they just put it literally touching the existing pole.
And how many trees did you say would be removed?
Up to 6, I believe. I think 6 is with the trimming. I think only three or four are proposed to be removed within wetland areas. I think there are 5 or 6 that are outside the
Are you
wetlands.
replacing any of them?
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
it
could
would be
be.
good.
Yeah. I think one is already a dead ash. It's a couple of them are on private property. They just overhang into the.
I would like the trees replaced.
I'm sorry?
I would like the trees that are coming down be replaced. So if they're removing 6, replace it with 6.
Okay. Yeah, they're all on private property, so I don't know if you have somewhere
Private
else.
property trees?
Yeah, so I don't know if you have anywhere you'd like to plant them elsewhere, or.
Well, you can ask the individual homeowners.
Okay. Yeah, most of them are, I believe, in that wetland along Sally Richmond Brook in that lull in the
Yeah.
below area. I don't think any of the others
Okay.
along the road are impacted.
The sidewalk, you're gonna have the crown of the road, the edge of the road, then the poles, and then the sidewalk?
I believe so. That would be.
So the sidewalk has to come before us for another permit, because that's a separate,
That's a separate.
separate
Yeah, that'll be the
project by a separate
This is
organization.
strictly for the poles. Where
Just
the
for the
poles are
poles.
there, they're gonna be replaced.
Yeah.
Same location.
DPW will be coming before us for the sidewalk. Right, Tom?
Yes, to answer the gentleman's question, though, the rule of thumb,
Jim,
the poles are gonna be
gentleman
behind the
has
sidewalk.
a hand up for a question.
Yeah, well, Tom's answering something now.
That's why they're moving the
He's-
poles, we'll have the curb, grass strip, sidewalk, then the pole. The opposite side of the road.
I think those maps are in here. Those pictures are all in here.
Nothing
Yeah.
on my side.
It's a pretty good little booklet. that
Dairy
they
farm
put
was
here.
on that side.
No wonder it costs so much, all the
And,
projects.
and so most of the poles are already in a good spot. They're just replacing them completely just to have the whole road up to date. There's only about, as I said, 15 or 20 of them that are going to move substantially, and by substantially I mean less than 4 feet.
Okay. Yes.
Leonard Hall, 760 Main Street, Dayton. Question, you mentioned there will be 6 trees removed. You said, how many of those are on private property?
I believe all of them, but so it's up to 6 can be removed. Most of them are going to be trimmed. And if they have to, sometimes when you take off a whole limb, there's nothing left of the tree, so they cut it. But I believe all of them are rooted outside of the right of way.
When will the property owners be notified, and how soon before they're cut? Will they be notified?
I would have to check with National Grid on that one when they do the work. I believe this was just kind of the scope. They went out and saw which ones were going to be in the new line area, and that's what they estimated. That may actually not occur until the actual work is, and I believe they'll give you some heads up once they commence the actual work. This is just the actual wetland impact side of it. This is not fully engineered yet as far as what they'll be doing.
I don't know.
Oh,
She was between me and, that was between me and her.
wow.
Okay.
Regarding,
Well, just go through.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
regarding tree removal on private property.
Thank you. I can just email her.
Does the commission have the ability to direct the developer to replace those trees?
I know
Not
that
if
they
it-
have,
This is a wetland issue, not a tree issue.
I know that they have the right to trim trees that, where the wires are getting in the way. I would say that we don't give them permission. They will have to ask permission from each individual homeowner. And maybe this is something that Lisa can write in. A homeowner must provide permission for trees cut on private property. Lisa?
The only permission that can be given is by the homeowner.
Right.
Yeah.
I did this for a living, and the grid has trees in the way, and it's on private property. We have to get permission from the property owner.
To remove the tree. I
Well,
understand the
to
trim.
remove it, yeah,
To
or
remove
even to trim it. Trimming is not automatic for private trees on private property. Town height, the town tree warden gives permission for right-of-way and town trees. But every particular property owner should be notified of the trimming and give permission for it. You can refuse it. Not the right thing to do, but that's the way it works. So if there's a tree removal coming down, they have to get permission from the homeowner.
No,
And,
thank you very much.
and these are just proposed at the moment. They may not end up needing them in the end. These were just the ones they went out and said, hey, these ones could be a problem. So, just a couple of them happen to be in a wetland, which is why they were included.
Okay, Lisa, when you write this up,
I'm more worried about someone's purse. I'm trying to email them and tell them to come back and get it, sorry.
okay, all right, well, we'll go over that later then, what
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
dealing with.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, is there a motion to give a negative determination, but with the criteria that they cannot remove trees on private property without the owner's permission?
I'm sure they know that.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think.
he doesn't know it, so.
It doesn't matter.
I will
don't
make
think-
sure.
That's nothing to do with us, Jim.
Well, no, but if we
we're-
give permission for the project, and he included
That's
removal of
nothing-
trees, we're gonna say we
It's
can't give
wetland. We deal with the water. We don't deal with the trees. If there's trees in a wetland on a big project,
I'm just saying I want to require them to replace the trees, so that's all I'm
I
saying.
don't know if you can require them, even replace them, Lisa, if they're on private property. I mean, we take care of the water condition.
They gotta get permission to take them down.
But the
Right.
property owner could insist on the replacement.
But maybe if the people don't want them planted back there, why, you
Actually,
know,
property owner could refuse to have it taken down.
right.
Then they'd have to find a way to
True.
trim it and work with it.
True.
Yeah, I know when I've done a couple other projects with maintenance notification letters, we just say, hey, we need to trim, but they still have to go to
understand
the,
that.
they still have to go to the landowner.
I did
in
that
the
for a
end.
living
Yeah.
for a lot of years, and I've knocked on a lot of doors.
Yep.
I've been thrown out of yards, and some people were easy to talk to. But that's the way it worked then, and I can't see it changing now.
No, I think it's the same. It's just it's in here to warn you some of them are in
Yeah,
wetlands.
and even to go into a town, we always had to connect with the tree ward.
Okay, no other questions? Do I have a negative,
I make a motion for negative determination for Mass Electric.
Second.
Replace their poles.
okay, it's been seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, notice of intent from the Dayton Water District to establish a new well within the buffer zone of the bordering vegetated wetland off Cedar Street.
Keith Black, I'm a senior project engineer with Environmental Partners on here on behalf of Dayton Water District. I believe you folks have full sets of plans from me. I don't know if you have those available.
So who do I?
Robert.
Sorry.
We dropped them off when we submitted everything. I'm not sure.
No, I have seen them at the office.
I tried to check with Lisa ahead of time that there would be plans available too. I apologize, I didn't come from the office for with my own set. I can briefly go over the project. Lisa, do you have plans for this project? A plan set?
I already gave them to you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
They're in the binder,
Okay,
the white binders.
the white binder. I know I've seen it,
Yeah, it may be right there.
Thank you.
Cedar Street well replacement. Maybe that's it. What do you think, Bill?
Absolutely. There's no sense putting it in anywhere but.
Yeah, I think he has the set right there.
Not if you want a well.
oh, yeah, here it, oh God, I just covered it with this one.
That's okay.
Okay,
I got it. I know where he's going. I've been there. I saw it.
oh, okay, all right.
Sheet C2 will show the full project extent of what we're trying to do, but I'm sure,
Same place.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure you folks have are relatively familiar with the site. It's, Cedar Street Well 1A, which is a replacement well for the existing Cedar Street Well 1 that was replaced about a few years ago. And we've already drilled a production well. We've done permitting with DEP and the state. So there's a production well that we tested that can clearly meet the permitted yield of the existing well. The current well cannot pump anything more than about 40 gallons per minute, which is significantly less than the permitted amount. And sheet C2 will show the proposed conditions for the plan.
40 gallons a minute, and you're gonna store on site?
No, this goes to a transmission main and goes right to the treatment plant. So, on site, it currently does 40 gallons a minute because the well is, basically collapsing. The screen of the well is not, pumping effectively. It could be some hydraulic issues with the pump too. So we drilled a replacement well that's already out there. We've permitted that and gone through the state. So this project is just to install piping to basically bring that in to the existing 1A building. There's 2 buildings on site. There's the old well 1 building, then the newer, slightly newer
I know the
1A.
buildings.
We're gonna abandon the front building, which is the older building. The water district doesn't have a need for it. So we're gonna basically, the existing equipment in there, we'll decommission. All new stuff will go in the back building, and then we'll pipe it out to the street, and it's gonna pump up to the treatment plant. So that's it. And all of this is taking place within the buffer zone, no actual wetland, but we are not changing conditions on site at all. Everything we're doing is buried utilities or within existing buildings. So we're not gonna change any conditions on site.
Okay.
The water district there is a driveway there, it has a mix of gravel and driveway. It's not a super clean pave, so we're just gonna replace it with a gravel pack, when we talk to the district about that. So, no paving on that, but we will replace everything in Cedar Street itself. There's probably about a 30-foot stretch in Cedar Street itself. On the shoulder, we'll have to connect to the existing transmission main. And that will be the greatest extent of impact on Cedar Street, but we'll replace, to existing conditions there.
You guys have any questions on it?
Shall we just hang tight?
Yeah.
Asking him all the
Yeah,
questions I need to
David
know
or
already.
Charlie, any questions?
I don't have any concerns, but I did already ask a couple of
Yeah.
questions of them.
Does the audience have any questions? No. Okay, do I have a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions for the Dayton Water District?
So moved.
I make a motion that we.
The motion's been
I
made.
already made the motion.
Oh.
You got a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're set to go.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gotta hit me with a shovel.
It's nice to
Okay.
have water.
Dayton Highway Department.
Gotta hit me with a shovel, I
Yeah,
wasn't
I,
paying
um,
attention.
That's okay. Pay attention.
Notice of intent by the Dayton Highway Department for emergency repair on a culvert
But I'll do my
on
best.
North Street.
Our plan right now is the only thing is we'd wanna incorporate.
She gets these, right?
Because we're gonna submit to DEP next week.
Yes, he gets
But that's okay,
Yeah,
there's no
okay,
challenges after that, so
Yeah.
we'll be in touch.
I appreciate it. No, I don't.
Also, I
Thank you.
think we did put straw bottles in the front, but we can change that to, filter fence.
Okay, yep, silt fence, as long as it's installed properly.
Okay, we all set to go?
Not yet.
Sounds good.
No, I know.
Awesome.
I'm trying to move it
Appreciate it.
along.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Thomas?
Yes, sir. So I gave Lisa the tags for the certified mail.
Thank you.
I believe that you were sent a copy of the receipt from Mass DEP for the NOI. We do have a problem with, as you know, with the newspaper. They will not bill us until after November 1st.
They what?
They will not invoice us until after November 1st.
They won't?
No.
Charlie, how did some people get a bill and some didn't? I'm confused.
I send everybody that's, that applies and gonna be before the commission, a letter, email letter, informing them of how to pay the bill and how to, respond to us with a receipt. But the town of Dayton has a different setup.
Right, because, yeah, I don't have a credit card, I don't have a check, so I have to be invoiced, and they will not invoice that quick.
Okay. Well, we know where you live, we know where you work.
Okay, I believe you guys have you gentlemen have a packet of the work that we did there.
Go ahead, you can tell us about it, and,
So on North Street, we had a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe failing, and also the road was starting to go down on, I believe it would be the, crushed on the westbound side, coming into the travel lane. So we needed to act fairly quickly on that. So the repair was already done, replaced with plastic, the solid plastic pipe, same size.
Okay.
Minimal impact, I spoke with Lisa first for the emergency certification, so she was aware of the work that was gonna be done. And after the work was done, she felt she would be more comfortable if we filed for the NOI after the fact. So that's where we are
So
tonight.
there's no change in the flow, no change in the volume or direction or anything like that?
No.
So it's, all of it is you saved the road?
Pretty much, yes, except for the.
Okay.
Right. So there was some pounding of the water. You could tell there was some pounding of the water in the past, so you could tell the road has got some foundational issues. So hopefully that's been subdued for now until we can go up there and resurface the road in the future. So that we didn't go beyond the width of the shoulder. So that I believe the only disturbance, she needed the number for the impact. So it's basically the shoulder that was the impact and the rest was asphalt. And we stabilized the shoulder with riprap, and we used the wattles upstream and downstream for siltation.
Okay. I have no questions. Anybody here?
No.
Anybody in the audience? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know what the
Sir.
emergency was, what I'll notify. I own the property at 25 North Street. And that had nothing to do with the road deteriorating. The road is deteriorating because Maynard Lane, when they put it in, the sewer drains cannot handle the flow of water. And it washes down because when they did the road.
The sewer drain?
Yes, sir. There's 2 sewer drains at the end of Maynard Lane. And they always
Sewerage on North Street?
Not sewer drains,
Catch basins?
catch basins, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. They can't handle
Okay.
the flow of water.
Boy, you had me nervous there for a minute.
So they can't handle the flow of water. And it always erodes the whole side of the road coming all the way down into where that water ends up. Okay? And that's the reason why that road's deteriorating. And the other reason is, on the other side is, just recently, about 8 months ago, my property is right there. A Lopes truck went in there with gravel and almost rolled over and went off the road, leaning. And when they came to remove it, the wrecker started sliding and tore that road up a year ago. I don't know what the big emergency was without even notifying me, and he also went with a bigger pipe. He went with a 16-inch pipe, not a 12-inch, which is flowing water, and he could have moved the pipe, which I'm afraid is gonna wash away my driveway, because my driveway is almost right there, like 10 feet away. He could have moved the pipe up further, away from my driveway, and he did it. No notification or nothing, just came and did it. I don't know what the big emergency was, because that road's deteriorating from old, and they put a substation in, and all these trailer trucks hauling all this gravel up at 103,000 pounds are deteriorating that road because they can't handle that weight. That's the other issue.
He had a crush pipe.
And the pipe's been crushed for 20 years.
Well, maybe, but now he's
I know
not
it has,
crushed.
because I've been living there for over 20 years.
Well, the pipe is still right where the other one was, and it's perfect now. The road is gonna be perfect when it's done.
How's it gonna be perfect when the runoff from Maynard Lane is gonna wash it away? Because they put when Maynard Lane comes around the corner, they put like a curbing around it, correct? That's already gone. That's washed away. With tile you put it.
I don't know, without some kind of picture or
I'll show
map
you a
or
picture,
something,
yeah.
I can't understand what you're referring to.
All right, this is the road.
I know North Street.
This is the road. You tell me that road's all cracked to hell.
Yeah.
Okay?
It looks like a road in Dayton.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me see here.
You wanna see these pictures, Tom? Show Tom.
This is the road.
Please.
That's the rest of the road.
Okay.
Okay? So I don't know what the big emergency was. Now over here, they had that tar They made it like a curbing almost. This is the road runoff from
Like a
Maynard Lane.
berm or something.
Right. It's already washed away. This was done in August.
Oh, wait, look at your,
I'm sorry. Here's the road right here. See this? This is berm. I'll show you what it looks like because I took a picture where they did it up further up the road. See how that was?
Yeah, up a berm.
Right. That's the way it was in August. This is the way it looks today because the road is eroding from Maynard Lane.
Okay.
The water running down. My issue is the water's getting closer to my driveway. And what happens when it washes my driveway away?
And it was an existing pipe, right?
So the existing pipe, that was not asphalt, that was just road, asphalt.
It was
millings.
asphalt.
It was asphalt millings. It wasn't hot place.
You did the top of the road the same time you did the bottom of the road. Because I watched
No, I'm referring to the berm, you're saying it's washing away?
how about the burn on the top of the road you did? On the corner of Chestnut and North Street. You did the same burn on Maynard Lane and North Street.
That's asphalt when we hot patched the road, yes. But the other one that you're saying Main Lane's washing out, that's not asphalt in place, that's just road millings.
Well, what are you gonna do, collect the water when the water runs down the street so fast because of the sewer drain, the catch basins can't catch it?
Stick to the.
I didn't engineer that. That was a.
You guys approved it.
I didn't approve it.
Someone did.
we open it up to the audience.
We're here about the
And I
pipe.
don't understand, when I went through my wetlands, I had to go through like just everybody went through here. The town just comes in all of a sudden after 20 years of that road being, that drain not working, period. It's a state of emergency,
But he did all the work in the roadway,
but it affects my land because all that water's running under
but
my
it's a
property.
town roadway.
Okay, fine.
I mean, you can't, the guy has a duty to keep roads working.
Then why does he fix the rest of it? It's falling apart the rest of it. If he's still worried about it.
He
Are
was
there any
worried about the
plans
pipe.
to fix
He
the
fixed
rest
pipe.
of the
Worried
road?
about what was the, I don't understand the emergency of the pipe.
That was holding up the road and it was collapsing in on the westbound side.
It didn't even break where the pipe was, and you know it, and
Yes,
I
it
know.
did.
No, it didn't, it broke 10 feet further up.
We have pictures of that.
Okay, I don't think we're getting anywhere
We're not
with
getting
this.
nowhere, sorry.
The emergency.
All I want is to know that my driveway washed away, what's the town gonna do about it? Because the water's, the other day when we had a rainstorm, it's getting high. The water's not flowing on my property. It's just sitting there where the pipe comes out.
Well, evidently,
They were
it
sitting
always
there
has
when-
if the
when
pipe
your
was
pipe
there
was
and
there.
working.
Never had, I've been there 24 years, never had this problem.
I can't see how,
There wasn't water there when I checked it. I don't know.
Well, you should've went and looked after the other rainstorm.
I mean, right after the rain event, you might
Was that
have,
the
you might have trees or branches holding
2.9
it
inch
back.
rainstorm?
Everybody's,
Yeah.
my house was high and dry, 400 feet above.
I had water in my yard.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't just the other day. It's sitting there. And my biggest fear, it's gonna puddle there, it's gonna go across my driveway.
Actually, there should be water sitting there because that's the resource area.
There is a wetland on
the
either
wetland
side.
area.
There's no wetland on that property, with there. It's on the other side of the street where,
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. I mean, we've had a problem there. Tom declared it a problem, and the problem had been fixed. We don't know what the future's gonna bring with that. It seems like nothing should be changed. It appears that way, because it was the same size pipe, same location.
it's not the
et
same
cetera.
size pipe.
Is there a motion on this notice of intent to give post-approval?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, I gotta get you in order. Go easy on me.
Yes.
Let's see. Can I help you? You've been here
Yes,
for.
he's waiting. He's waiting for a certificate of compliance. He lives on Sesame
all
Street.
right.
Could you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? How do you get there?
Okay, let's, next on the agenda is the approval of 3 unpaid invoices from Niche Engineering. one for $19.45, another one for $70, and another one for $2,705
You have
for
to
various
make that
services.
motion, Chuck. I can't deal with money.
Yeah, that's,
Is there a motion to pay these bills from our 53G account?
would you go over those figures again, Jim?
It's okay, it's, 1945 for invoice 74865,
Yeah,
$70 for invoice 75252, and $2,705 for invoice 78618.
all right, yeah, I'll make a motion to pay them.
Wait, that's
But
Beta.
did you jump over?
It's niche.
No, I got niche, I got the 3 for niche.
Yeah, and you only mentioned two.
Yeah,
I
you
did
jumped
three.
over,
$1,945?
you jumped
Yes.
over, we got the, 2985 and a 1647.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Okay, those three are to be paid.
That to be paid, yes.
Sign,
Oh, sign, I have to sign it.
that's how they get paid.
Okay, I got 3 of them here. Just me, right? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, both pages,
Both
Hey,
pages, okay.
both pages.
Jim,
Yes.
it says, you got a thing here that say approved 3 unpaid invoices, but it only lists 2. And then you move down to the next 3.
I did past due, and latest niche invoice. Okay, this is what I did right here, Charlie, these 3.
Yeah, you did, we're still missing 2.
Past, one is a fresh invoice.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Charlie, is right here. It says 3 unpaid invoices, but it only lists 2 amounts. And then Jim went down and got the next 3 past due, 2 past due, and then, the latest invoice.
There were only 2 that were past due, and one was the latest invoice.
Yeah, but the 2 that are past due don't line up with the ones before that. We have a 2985 and a 1647. Down below a past due is 1945, a 70, and then a 2705.
29, yeah, there is, it says 2980.
Yeah.
45 and 70 were past due.
Okay, and the 2705
It's
is
a new
new.
invoice.
So, okay, so what's up here, it looks
Up
something.
here, what's up here, Charlie? The
That was an
2885.
explanation for why they were unpaid.
Okay, explanation.
Oh, all right, okay, all right.
Okay, now we have Beta invoice dated 9/16 in the amount of $5,585.16, and a second invoice for $1,414.31. A third invoice dated 10/14 in the amount of $2,201.93. Do I have a motion to pay those 3 bills to Beta?
Well, it says that the applicant hasn't funded the account, so how can we pay it? The Beta. I make a motion, the other ones are paid, but Beta's, it says at the end here that,
Charlie, okay, we gotta get more money for here?
There were 2 for Zeneca and 1 for,
Brick Street.
oh,
yes, Brick Street.
Okay, do I have a
Beta.
motion then for the first 2?
first 2, I make a motion and we pay Beta for, the 2 invoices for Zeneca's work.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Okay, Okay, the third one, Charlie, we need to get money in that account then.
Yes.
Okay, so we can't pay that one yet.
No, but we can approve it.
We can approve it
Yes, sure.
until we get the money in.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the $2,201.93 pending, money in the 53G account?
Yeah, I make a motion that, Beta gets paid for the Bridge Street when, account's funded.
Second?
That was seconded?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's one.
Can you help that guy out over there? He's going to sleep.
Yeah, he's next up,
Charlie,
though.
I need to sign all these here?
Yes, you do.
There's no, there's one with 4 pages.
That's okay, sign the 4.
While they're signing that, I
I gotta
gotta
drive home to Rhode Island.
hold the phone, I'll be right back.
He'll be right here, Jack.
Better chairs out here.
Okay,
So
here's
everybody
2
falls
for
asleep.
Beta. Oh, God, we got a bunch of them.
Move up to the front, if you want.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Might have to hide it back.
You moving out of Dayton?
No,
Charlie.
I'm in Cedar Street,
Oh,
so.
lots of wetlands over there.
Yeah, I think we just got my sister's house for a pool or something like that.
I didn't think
Charlie and
that,
Jim,
What one are you
Yes.
moving to?
a bit of information that you might wanna listen to.
You're across from the subdivision?
Marty Nova has a work contract with Beta.
It's actually the house in
It expires
Oh,
29th of this month.
She gave me a call and said that she's temporarily, at least, or maybe leaving them, whether it's temporary or not, but she said that,
Okay.
to continue
As long
working.
as she notified you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I think, I don't know if it's stress or whatever it is,
Oh, yeah.
but she must be working like crazy with them and
Hey,
and your mother built the house in the back,
trust-
like 20 years ago? I reviewed that one too, yeah.
Yeah.
how many pages on that?
So when I grew up there, it was only,
get them all on that.
Small world.
there was like 4 houses. You know what I mean? My father's lot.
And these, I signed 4 pages.
We grew a lot.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Kinda sucks.
It's just gonna grow more. You should see it all. You could get involved with conservation.
okay, Jack's back.
Jack's back.
One night a month.
Long meeting.
Okay, request for a certificate of compliance from Brian Perry for 634 Sesame Street. Lisa, can you inform us?
He's here. So basically, I told Miles, his engineer, didn't need to come.
We're all set then?
He has built, what has happened is, one shed and a pool was built, so the original work was a septic system. Okay, so this is really for the septic system. But when I went out there to do the site visit for the certificate of compliance, I realized there was another shed built and the pool was built. And that was before he bought the house, okay? But in any case, Mr. Perry, right, agreed to delineate, he didn't go into his 25 foot no touch at all. So he agreed to put some signage up. His wife bought 5 from us. I have the check, but the town's trying to figure out how we can accept money and, so I have a check. Anyway,
Okay,
these are the signs. You put them on these posts,
I saw them.
okay?
okay.
Looks good.
Oh, what beautiful signs.
Pressure treated posts or what?
2 feet down.
Are they pressure treated those?
They are, yes.
Great, perfect.
Okay,
All right, so now,
So-
he's here to get a copy, so that means we have to sign two, one for me and one for him.
Okay, is there a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for Brian Perry?
I make a
Okay, seconded.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, yes. Okay,
It was originally issued to Scanlon, Sean Scanlon. Here's the
wait a
second.
minute, Rika.
You're gonna sign 2 pages for him, because I need a copy, and he's
Yeah.
here, I don't have a copy yet. Oh, there used to be one over here.
One downstairs.
Yeah, that's, you don't wanna run down there. You didn't sign here, Charlie? You didn't sign here.
No, I didn't. I didn't have a pen.
I wanna see the picture.
I'm sure he did good. He probably takes after his father, but I won't say that to him, so. Huh? You can tell him I said that too.
I will.
All right.
You sure he what?
I told him he can tell his father I said that too.
What did you say, though? I didn't hear the beginning.
He said he took after his father, so he did a good job.
He did do a good job.
Yeah.
I
Either
can
that
send people over to you so they can see how we want it
or, either Lisa, either that or his grandfather used to be the highway superintendent.
Really?
Oh, yeah, celebrity.
Perry was his father, grandfather?
Wait,
Yeah, Brownie Perry.
That's his grandson?
That's his grandson.
I'm in the dirt all the time.
Okay.
I just ratted you out.
I wanted to do.
We won't hold it against you, though.
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he was.
nice.
I knew your grandfather well. He was a
Okay,
good man.
do we have a second, request for a certificate of compliance from James and Jennifer Tavares?
Oh, this one's a little more. In the spring, I received a phone call that this couple, Jennifer and James, needed a certificate of compliance. They had a closing date. They decided to close anyway, even though I went out to the property and I reached out to their lawyer, basically had calls and emails from their lawyer, from the buyer's lawyer. And I said, looks like you didn't do everything that was in your orders. Oh, we didn't know we had orders. I said, well, you came here for a certificate of compliance. Anyway.
Go right to Lisa.
So they needed to put bounds in. So they did that. They put the bounds in, but they also, thank you, had cleared in the 25-foot no touch. They had been mowing, and they went into the wetlands. So
since then,
I basically told them I'm not signing off right now, and I need to speak with the new owners. So I had a site visit with the new owners, and the new owners were very discouraged because they bought their home, and were told that they could do what they wanted to do in their backyard and expand their backyard. They're right on, it's 899 Williams. They're right on the street with a huge...
Right on what?
Right on Williams, right, really close to the road. So they wanted to expand their backyard, but it's like all wetlands and 25-foot no touch. So in any case, they reached out to me and said, what do you need now? It's been a few months. I said, I'll go do another site visit, see if it's established, see if the new owners have left it alone. The new owners wanted their lawyer to be there because they're going back and forth now. But I'm ready to sign off on it, so I gave them a full certificate of compliance.
Okay, then we need a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for James and Jennifer Tavares on 899 William Street.
Make a motion, certificate of compliance for William Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Mr. Perry, you're not living in his old house, are you?
Yeah, I'm buying it. I'm moving over there. Take care.
Take care.
Okay, I'll pass that down. Bill?
Bill?
Bill? Just
I
flip
got
that
it,
up.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, Elizabeth Patello, Cedar View Realty Trust, 4 Cedar Street, has sold a portion of land that includes an existing dwelling and is classified under Chapter 61A. We should discuss whether money will be added to our conservation fund.
Well, it will be added to it when it's sold. I guess
we should discuss
what they're asking us if we're interested in buying it.
Well, I just read what was here.
Okay.
But they kept part of the land, the house and an additional lot are the ones that, they're all over the 61A. I didn't know houses get under 61A. I thought it was just open land.
If it's 5 acres, Charlie, yeah.
The houses, bonds, everything.
The house is on the street and a small lot attached to it on the street, and the other 7 or 8 acres or whatever is in the back.
What are we on?
Hot, the farm 61A.
Yep. I recommend that we, pass on it. Do you guys know where it is?
I saw it.
Yeah.
It's right on, almost in Rehoboth.
Yeah. And I checked and there's no town properties abutting it, so. Thank you.
Doesn't Rehoboth abut it?
Yep.
Swansea, the Swansea Peak in there in the one corner?
Should be all right there, probably,
I think so, yeah.
Purchase Street is the town line.
yeah.
It runs right into that, what's the name of the street?
Well,
Cedar?
Cedar, yeah, Cedar.
Whatever, anyway, it's not,
Yeah, but right there, Jackie Perry. He's, Dayton,
That's Dayton,
Rehoboth, and,
Swansea comes up almost.
Swansea. He's got 3 property tax bills right there.
anyway, what she want? Oh,
You just have to determine whether you wanna buy it or not, which I don't think we do.
Well, if there's anything there, I mean, it's kinda by itself, right?
Yeah, there's nothing really around it for conservation land, I checked,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
but I mean, it's not like something down on the river there where we can add to what we got,
Right.
you know, keep open space.
Yeah, open space is important.
Okay, has anything been said about the 61A property?
Yeah. Nobody's interested.
Okay, I don't know if we need to do anything or just send a letter to the selectmen saying that we're not interested.
Just an email's fine, yeah. Charlie, do you wanna send the email, or do you want me to?
No, I can send you.
Okay. You know, this is probably a pretty good time even to say it. A lot of these farmers, that are aging and they've seen their property for.
You talking about me?
For many, many years and,
No.
you know, they don't want to see it go into development. Maybe it's something they can consider to put it in a land trust or conservation trust to keep it preserved for future generations in Dayton. We've had several properties like that, And if anyone out there is so interested in preserving their worked over farmland for so many years and don't want to see it built up and turned into house lots, it's something to think about.
Good.
Okay, let's go on to the enforcement order. Lisa, maybe we don't have to deal with all of these.
Yeah, I can whittle it down if you'd like.
Yes.
Sounds good to me. All right, so,
Which one are we gonna pick?
there's a bunch, nothing new to report, but 1035 William Street, I can say that Outback's been out there and we are waiting for a plan. 1763 Wellington Street, we are awaiting, she would like to buy the sign. Good! I was gonna send it to the police station. Have a good night. All right. 1763 Wellington. They hired Lighthouse. We did a site visit. We determined there are areas on the property that they've worked within the 25-foot no touch, and they've agreed to leave them alone. She wants to purchase the signs. She's gonna have to buy a lot of them.
Mr. What?
Purchase the sign.
Put your hand down, thank you. I can't read your lips if your hands are in front of your mouth.
How can you even read my lips from this far away anyway?
Oh, I can read your lips from here.
What happened at
I'm good at it.
1035, Lisa?
Huh?
1035, what was that?
Oh, I just said that they hired Outback, so we should be receiving, after the fact filing soon.
Oh.
And a restoration plan, okay?
Yep.
And why don't you have your recording out?
I can hear now.
Oh, perfect.
Cost me $4,000, I can hear everybody.
I forgot you could hear you. I might have to get in touch with you soon, because my husband keeps yelling at me that I can't hear, and he doesn't realize that maybe I just don't want to hear some of the things he's saying. But anyways. So I need to actually make sure we're waiting on the account for the signs so that we can actually provide them to people. I don't want to keep collecting checks from people when I don't have an account set up. Everything there's a little bit of effort.
But
So
they're working on setting it up.
she's working on it. She wants the minutes from tonight where we approved the minutes from the last meeting where we approved that, setting up that account.
Okay.
So if you could send Serena those minutes. Okay, and then, Clearway Solar, we do have an update. They've done the restoration around the vernal pool. They've done the restoration of the buffer zone. And we do have a report I passed out to each one of you. It's probably on the bottom. From TRC. Did you take a look?
Yep.
Okay. If anyone would like to go out there and look at the plantings and look at the restoration, you'd just be walking down a gravel road, or maybe we could drive down. And we could, 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, actually 9:30 on Tuesday is when I have it set for. So if anyone,
I think it's 9:30.
just meet in the parking lot at the front of the site, and we'll go in that way.
No coffee?
No donuts either.
But pumpkin pie from the greenhouse.
That's a good idea. But they could not be here to present that. I just wanted to let you know. The other thing you should know about it is that the plan is going to be modified slightly because the health agent has required test pits out there. They did some test pits to determine that the groundwater's in a different location. So they have to redesign the basins a little bit. There's also an abutter, Mr. Christofuli, who is having some water issues. Therefore, they've agreed to redesign their stormwater some. I reached out to Beta for the Stormwater Committee, and we got an estimate so that they're going to look at this again. They're gonna review it for the Stormwater Committee.
Mr. Foley's side is just being constructed now, isn't it?
The basin, yeah, the basins are all, so they're roughed in, the basins, but the problem is the whole site's cleared. So until the basins are actually functioning, there's gonna be some water issues. And then the other thing is, they're adding one more pole, and it's gonna be right next to the vernal pool. So when Beta reviews it all, they're gonna review the whole thing, and we're gonna have to issue an amended order.
Okay.
But that's gonna come up, I just wanted to let you know. 1861 Somerset Ave, they've hired Lighthouse Engineering. They had the wetlands flagged. I spoke with Lighthouse, and we need to have a site visit to inform the owners and get a little more information from them as to what they plan to do with the property. It may just be a driveway, but the problem is they've already cleared partially, I believe, in the wetland, and then definitely in our 25-foot no touch. 0 Williams, so the site was perked. I'm awaiting a restoration plan. I did get an email from Proline with an existing conditions plan, but no new work has occurred there. So I'm gonna work with them on that one. 1969 Horton, no new work has occurred. It's owned by the bank. They plan to have the wetlands flagged and an NOI filed.
969 Horton is owned by the bank?
Yeah, 1969. It's a log cabin.
Oh, all right.
I think you guys might
That's not
know
what I
the
was
gentleman who
thinking. I
used
was
to
thinking
own
of
it.
that property.
It's log cabin on the south side. So anyways, so that's gonna come before us eventually, but there's no new work there.
Okay.
975 Stonegate Landing, no new work has occurred. And we do have one more item on here Bill has to recuse himself for.
Okay, Bill, would you, since there was a complaint made for the
Possible wetland violation.
possible wetland violation
I
with
got a
that
letter.
structure,
I got a letter.
I know, and, you know, what we're trying to do is, because of the violation, we didn't want to say, wow, you're a member of the commission, we tried to follow through as we, do with everyone, so.
What would you like to know?
What is the structure? Is it,
It's a feeding and a nesting cage.
Again, please?
It's a feeding and nesting cage.
Cage.
For geese.
For geese.
For my domestic geese that I've been raising and experimenting with now for 6 years.
Okay.
I'm gonna increase the flock by tenfold. And I want to winter them at the end of that pond that doesn't freeze because the water flows out of it. And that all the animals in the state of Massachusetts are required to have adequate food, water, and shelter. And I'm gonna give my animals that. I've had the design looked at by Fish and Wildlife, and a number of experts on that particular, goose raising project that I'm going to start. And I don't know if this is exactly the spot where I want that cage. I won't know until I get a couple of snowstorms, because I keep a path from the barn to that open water open for my sheep. I will also like to keep a path open for the geese also. Have you ever been by the Swansea Dam in the middle of the winter, where the water flows over the top of the dam, it's full of geese and ducks?
Yeah.
It's always loaded with geese.
Yeah, well, that's where we got the idea from. And I won't know how good it's going to work until I get a couple of snowstorms.
So it's a cage. How big is it?
I can move that cage anytime I want.
How big is it?
It's 18 feet long, 10 or 12 feet wide. I built it out of material that I had left over from different projects in the barn. I have 2 sheets of corrugated steel roofing.
But it is a temporary
That determined the length, the 18-foot steel. I had one over the top of the other, one standing up and one leaning this way. So the birds can get underneath. I made 5 stalls in there with vinyl plastic. The damn thing is so light, I had to drive some re-rods in the barn and into the ground and wire the cage to the re-rods because the wind was lifting it.
But yeah, it's still a temporary structure. It's not other than just.
Well, I'd like to keep it there forever, as long as it's working.
Yeah, but you can move it. I mean, it's not on a foundation, it's just on skids. Yeah. So that's a temporary structure.
Fish and Wildlife recommended it to go there, or?
I'm licensed by them to do these birds.
They white geese, no? White geese,
Well, yeah, white geese, but I can, with the license I have, I can raise wild geese also.
No, I didn't know if you had white geese down there. We got enough Canadian geese. We don't need any more.
No, everything I raise is gonna be to eat.
Okay, all right. What we are looking at is this a viable complaint? Or is it something that Bill has agricultural exemption from because it is dealing with food animals and near the ponds that he has? You didn't fall asleep, did you?
No, I'm just looking up at the ceiling. I can hear them.
Okay.
Well, I would say it's a temporary structure, and he's got the birds, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, like you say, they gotta have access to water.
Charlie?
It's okay to raise half a dozen birds in a barn in a stall.
Yeah,
But if
not-
you're gonna raise
yeah.
a lot of birds, you don't want them inside a building.
No,
They can't stay clean and they can't prosper unless they're out, and they need swimming water.
So you're gonna raise more birds, that's your plan?
Yeah, he said.
I can't hear you, Charlie.
He said about 50, 60.
Oh, okay. He answered my question for you.
I couldn't hear you.
Well, he could hear you.
Okay,
So
good.
just passed it along.
All right.
Okay, you have any other questions? Jack, what is your thoughts on disposition of this complaint?
it's, now that we know what it is, I don't think there's an issue.
Charlie?
Well, a neighbor complained that he was building in a, wetland violation for the feeding,
No, coyote trap.
coyote trap, yeah.
No,
That was
they
recent.
inquired,
I did, that's what I did, I said that.
I can't hear you because they're
It
talking.
was an inquiry of, is this permissible? What is this? Basically.
So we,
Can I have a can you give me a hard copy?
It's an
Monday morning?
email.
Can you give me a hard copy in the morning?
No, because I'm not in on Fridays.
Okay, how about Monday morning?
It's an email, I'll just print it.
What?
It's an email,
Okay, can you print that for me?
okay,
yes.
Thank you.
okay, so the disposition is then that this
I can
complaint
send
or
it to you.
inquiry is non-viable or
Well,
is not a violation.
I think if the structure was permanent and it was in a wetland, it wouldn't be exempt. It's only exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act, not the local bylaw.
We don't have anything on the local
Right.
bylaws.
So it's temporary and it's for agricultural purposes, then you have a loophole.
I don't know if you have to
There's no-
respond to the individual.
Yeah.
That the commission has deemed it agricultural endeavor.
Sure.
And outside of the jurisdiction of our protection or whatever it may be there.
It's not a violation of the.
It's not a violation, okay? That the commission has deemed it to be not a violation of the Wetland Protection Act.
Ducks love wetlands.
I don't know if I don't think we have to take a.
The only thing I would request is
Can't hear you, Lisa.
The only thing I would request is, knowing your situation on Hart Street, if you could just let me know when you're going to do something like that.
So when a complaint comes in, she can respond to it right away.
I do farm work every day. And I'm not gonna call you and say, Lisa, I'm gonna move these hay bales to the other side
But
of my barn.
certain things are
I
not.
have to drive over that stream with a tractor every day. Put that, please make a note of that, you know.
Certain things are not exempt, that's why I'm saying it. So I just don't,
I probably know what's exempt.
no, you set an example, that's why I'm saying it.
You're gonna have to put a bridge over that creek if you drive over.
Oh, no, I drive right through it, it's solid. Been doing it for 50 years.
We have a
All right,
we have a local bylaw and it's not exempt. And if it's a permanent structure, it's not exempt under the local bylaw, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Permanent structure.
okay,
It's
but,
held by 3 little rods.
all right, is there anything else, that we have to deal with?
That was the last item on the agenda.
That's right. And I think the audience is tired and wants to go to bed.
The audience? I'm looking
Okay,
for a
is
ride
there-
home.
Is there any
I'm going to
other
my mother's to sleep tonight.
Lisa, is there any other correspondence?
I'll be in Bridgewater.
Public input.
Yeah, correspondence, we did have one.
Nancy, you don't have any public input, please.
We had,
We were counting on you.
we had the MACC bill.
Oh, yes. I thought we approved that last meeting.
Did we? All right, I'll look. You've got the minutes right here. All right.
We're gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute, we're gonna check,
One
make sure
second.
that,
Thing there about the MACC deal.
I don't remember seeing it there, Charlie.
No.
How much is the bill for, Charlie?
$299.
How much?
$299.
Oh, wait. Commission dues, yep, page
Okay.
4,
Okay, you can pay it, I have to sign it.
$299?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let me sign it, Charlie. Since
Thank
it's
you.
already, oh, did I sign it last week?
Sign that one. Cover all the bases.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.